What's up? What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, and it's time for Pop in Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Back with us tonight is Nicole Bennett, National Director of the Black Conservative Federation, and also Shelly E. All right. Before we dive in, guys, do me a favor, tap that thumbs up and subscribe right now. We're on YouTube and Rumble. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out all of our super chats. That's the best way to get your voice heard. All right. Into the conversation, and we love if you, and so please do the super chats if you enjoy conservative content. Woo! Okay, yeah,
it's a mouthful.
All right, folks, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. So as I always say, stand with us, subscribe, so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Lots to cover tonight. We are starting out with the great news that who else could it be? Trump is going to be the Time Person of the Year for Time Magazine. So what do you guys think about that? The criteria for Time Magazine's Person of the Year are not rigidly defined but are centered on recognizing an individual, group, or concept that has had the most significant influence, whether positive or negative, on world events. So are you surprised, Nicole, that he's the Person of the Year?
Not at all. I think it's a good look for him. I think it's an even better look. It signals that this very liberal media may be coming around to seeing things our way. It will definitely sell magazines. This is what they're supposed to do, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shelly, what are your thoughts there?
It surprises me in that it's Time. And like Nicole was alluding to, Time and other magazines have been so not liberal, leftist and progressive over the past number of years. So that part surprises me a little. I have no faith. I'm not holding out any faith that they're coming around. This is strictly a business move. And they also know that it's business in the sense that they know that conservatives as well as progressives buy their magazines. So in that sense, they're making a business decision. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, who else could it be? I mean, honestly, no one, not just this year, but within the last 4 years, has really sort of made an impression and also has been able to just carve out the presence like Trump has within the last 4 years. I mean, the man has been through so much with the lawfare, with the attempted on his life. He lost money, he gained money. I mean, his story is one the history books will continue to write. And our generations to come will be talking about President Trump.
Agreed. And I think history will write this story, and hopefully they'll do it correctly. And if it's any on our parts, we're going to make sure that it's correctly. One of the things about his story is that he represented the people and he fought back from a populist perspective. Mm-hmm. He didn't go back and start violence like some of our people in BLM. Mm-hmm. He didn't start the violence. He didn't go in and do tick for tack in that sense. He just used the same system that these people were using against him. He used it for the right thing and in the right way that it was supposed to be. And he has come out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, I want to, put a question to the audience or to the chat tonight. So we know Trump has been chosen as Time's Person of the Year, but who do you guys think could have also been chosen? Put it in the chat. Who do you think, someone else that you feel like would have met the requirements of Person of the Year? We know we all love Trump. We're MAGA here, over here. But who else? I'm just curious to see. And I want to ask you ladies that as well. Shelly, who do you think? Anybody in mind?
Oh, my gosh. Honestly, I can't think of anyone else. If anyone else, it would have to be someone from his team, that someone from the cabinet that he's choosing. I would say Kasparian maybe, because he fought alongside Trump for this whole time. He's been fighting since Russiagate. So I would have to say maybe he might deserve that honor.
Okay, what about you, Nicole?
I'm going to go with Elon Musk.
Oh,
right. The way he landed that rocket, that alone, person of the year.
Yeah.
You know, and the way he makes very complex things so very simple. I think it would be a good look for them. It would sell a lot of magazines with Elon, not as many as with Trump, but it would definitely be a good look.
Yeah, me, I think RFKJ, RFK Jr. And I think I'm saying him because the entire campaign changed when he came out and endorsed Trump. And not only with his endorsement of Trump and joining the MAGA, but he's also created MAGA, the MAGA movement. And he has been sounding the alarm on our food and drug, on the jab and the issues with that, and much more for a very long time. And so I could see him being person of the year as well. Yeah, I want to shout out our super chatters here. We have a super chat there. So let's see here. All right, we have Kung Fu CJ.
CJ,
our super chat. Yeah, says hello, ladies. Right back at you, Kung Fu CJ. Thank you so much. All right, so I want to move right along to the Daniel Penny and Luigi Mangione issues or events that have taken place over the last couple of weekends. So a CNN anchor is coming under fire for making contentious comparison between Daniel Penny and Luigi Mangione. Take a look here. This is clip 1.
Later in the night, we're also going to talk about Penny and the verdict there. There you also have a victim who somebody determined did not deserve to continue living, right?
No.
Yeah, tell me which vigilante action is okay.
One is being proactive, right? So this kid who executed a guy walking away from him, shot him in the back, for no reason whatsoever. Daniel Penny is a hero. You can say anything you want. Talk to people who ride the subway every day. Because I do all the time. All the time.
So let me
I can't find anyone who rides the subway who's unhappy about this verdict.
Well,
wow, that is insane. So she's trying to lump Daniel Penny in the same category as Luigi Mangione, and he's a vigilante, Shelley?
Her comments are nothing short of how the left has twisted and manipulated language for a long time, certainly over the last, I'll say, 10 years.
Sure.
They cannot discern between killing and murder. Many people use those words interchangeably, but they legally and historically, they have very different meanings, application-wise, particularly biblically. So, but when you conflate everything in their minds, because they see Jordan Neal is his name, so they see him as this martyr now, then
unmuted her. The sound is really
the
just
martyr,
messed up.
and Daniel Penny is
She's
the murderer
orange.
or the killer, as they want to say. So
And her mic's not even going on.
Disgusting. I find it horrendous that they are doing this.
It's not even going up. So is her mic not on?
They are, because this is what they do.
Yeah. I want to ask, this is disgusting what she did. This is disgusting.
Wait,
and it's even more disgusting when you think about Daniel Penny. He's done a recent interview with Fox News. Take a look here. This is clip 4.
I mean, I'm not a confrontational person. I don't really extend myself. I think this type of thing is very uncomfortable. All this attention and limelight is very uncomfortable, and I would prefer without it. I didn't want any type of attention or praise, and I still don't. The guilt I would have felt if someone did get hurt, if he did do what he was threatening to do, would never be able to live with myself. And I'll take 1 million court appearances and people calling me names and people hating me just to keep one of those people from getting hurt or killed.
Wow. So, I mean, can you believe that they would actually lump him with this guy that allegedly killed this CEO from United Healthcare in cold blood? This man was doing something to try to save multiple people on the train, and they're going to lump him with this guy, this homicidal maniac?
Of course, this is what they do. They take something that was intended for good and bend that narrative to fit their worldview. Now, if the shoes had been on the other foot, if Neely had been a white man and this black man killed him, they would have T-shirts with his name on it, and they'd be selling them on every corner as the new black superhero. We have got to get beyond this foolishness. It is unfortunate that Mr. Neely died.
Right here,
it is
right?
incredibly unfortunate. I feel bad for his family, but there
orange is not
no,
7. Orange is supposed to be 3.
No reason to vilify Mr. Penny. There's no reason for that.
Yeah, it's terrible. But you know what they're doing? They're lumping him together because they're both white. Mm-hmm. And we know that the left views everything through race, and this is what they're doing. They're lumping him with the other guy because of the skin color.
You know what else they're doing, KJ? Here's the thing. They've lost a lot of their base in the people who came out and said, okay, I'm going to vote for Trump for economic reasons. What they have now, though, is what they call a rallying cry. This is their thing. If we can turn out a bunch of people and make him, important to folks, even though he was homicidal and probably suicidal to some extent and was endangering people, punching old people in the face, kidnapping children, by any other standard, this man was a public menace. Mm-hmm. A public menace. But does his skin being brown excuse his behavior?
You're right. And you know what? The racial thing also, I thought about this a little bit today, so I'm just kind of fleshing it out here. Daniel Penny, Howard Rittenhouse, all of these guys were white. And I think it's an affront to them that these victims, the Michael Browns, the Jordan Neely, they're all black, talking about the racial angle, right? Mm-hmm. So they can't find any reasonable justification why these black men keep coming up in this way. Yeah. So to them, they have to find another target to throw darts at. And damn it, it's going to be the white cisgender male, because that just cannot happen. They represent white supremacy, and they represent everything that these people, the left, want to blame America for. So in this sense, they have to find some kind of way in their twisted minds to basically, again, take down America and take down the white man, who in their mind represents, the worst evil ever to walk the earth.
Oh, yeah. And let's talk about Luigi Mangione. And you guys know that he's originally from here, Maryland, where we are. And he put out a manifesto. His manifesto has been uncovered this week. So again, he's facing charges for shooting the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. The 3-page document was released by independent journalist Ken Klippenstein on his Substack blog, and later confirmed to be a legitimate transcription by law enforcement authorities. In the handwritten manifesto, he claims that he was acting alone and that he apologized for any strife of traumas that his actions had caused. According to Klippenstein, parts of the document are unintelligible due to Mangione's handwriting. The manifesto was found on him when he was arrested at the McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So some areas about this manifesto, he says, to the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience. And he goes on and on. It's just like, crazy talk, really. What do you guys think about this? Were you able to look at the manifesto?
A little bit of it. What I think about it is, I think he's evil. Again, I'm going to say allegedly because he's only accused. For legal purposes, I'll say allegedly. But I think he's evil. I think that he was a spoiled brat, maybe never told no. He had every opportunity that many people only dream to have. And I think he basically got a little bit, heady, heady and above himself, or, thinking of himself more than. Even if he had the back problems or the medical problems, damn it, you have millions of dollars at your disposal. You still have access to the best and beyond the best healthcare to get yourself fixed in a good way. Not only that, you look pretty healthy, if you will, when he was shooting the father and when he was being arrested. So whatever your ailments were or are, they seem to be pretty well managed. I think he is evil. He's a piece of shit. And I'm going to try to keep to my mainstay by not repeating their names unless it's necessary. Absolutely unavoidable.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that, Nicole?
So I agree too. This is someone who has grown up privileged and was likely thinking that not only could he get away with it, but he would become some sort of cult hero. Do you know what I mean? People would look at him and say, oh yeah, it's so cool. You know, you struck a blow for everybody. You don't strike a blow by shooting someone in the back. Right. It's cowardly. And for people who are supporting him and clapping for him and cheering for him, something is very wrong with you. Yeah. You are incredibly sick to cheer the death of another person because, you know, your healthcare decision didn't come out your way. He looked, as you said, Shelley, incredibly fit laying on that beach. He looked incredibly fit, fighting with the police, fighting extradition, you know, all of those things. I think this is a kid who was very privileged, behaving poorly.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, but, you know, of course, reports are out that he was talking, he may have mushrooms and psychedelic drugs in his system. So Killer Psyche, Candace DeLong, she wrote she has a podcast, Killer Psyche. She is one of the foremost people that study these types of crimes, serial killers and things like that. She talked about this today on Megyn Kelly's show. So she talked about how with these, it has been referenced that he was looking into mushrooms and psychedelic drugs. And we know that, you know, and I know a lot of people come on here and say, oh, it's not, you know, those are helpful. I know Joe Rogan is a big fan of these types of drugs.
Psychedelics.
Yes. Yeah. But they commented and said, studies show that first you have to be under a doctor's supervision when using these types of drugs. Secondly, if you have any type of mental illness in your family, it will cause catastrophic. Yes. Right.
Yes.
So this could have been happening before this. He committed this crime. He was out of reach for about 6 months. I think back in November, it's listed that his mother put out a missing persons report on him. No one had even talked to him within this 6 months. So again, this to me is sort of a combination of woke ideology, maybe drug use, and no telling what else involved. That all this came together, and he decided to kill this the CEO. But I want to get back to what you said, Nicole, about people actually cheering this guy on, and some are actually saying that he was a vigilante. He was a Robin Hood character. Take a look at this. This is clip 2.
Joy in a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. Because again,
we're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's being gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Thousands of Americans that be murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
But why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't fix the system.
You seem to find the whole thing hilarious.
I find your question funny.
A bloke's been murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
I don't find it funny that tens of thousands of Americans die every year and because they are denied life-saving health care from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix the system. You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No. I think that it is a good thing that this murder has led to America, or really the media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the American healthcare system in the way that millions of other Americans have.
I've dealt with the healthcare system in various ways in America. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but the idea that I would view it as something.
Have you been denied life-saving treatment?
The idea that I would view it as something joyful that a man has been, who's just a healthcare executive, has been executed in the street, I find completely bizarre. Let me bring in Tommy here. Yeah. Tommy, you know, I keep being told.
Hang
on, Taylor. I'll come back to you.
Okay,
Tommy,
don't say I'm joyful. I said
you said you were feeling joyful.
Yeah, I take that back. Joyful is the wrong word, Piers.
You think?
But I said, as I clarified,
you think?
Yeah.
You think joyful is the wrong word? Yeah.
Sure,
I'd say it is.
Vindicated, celebratory, because again, it feels like justice in this system when somebody responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans suffers the same fate as those tens of thousands of Americans who he murdered or
Tommy,
murdered.
whether Taylor wants to retract the word joyful or not, we all heard her say it, and I was just shocked. I mean, I find that kind of response utterly shocking, that someone could be murdered in the middle of Manhattan, who happens to be an executive for a healthcare company, and people think this is something that makes them feel joyful.
Yeah, this is still the remnants of the incredibly bratty Occupy Wall Street movement that's morphed into 100 other movements by now, all equally as disgusting. But to celebrate the murder of a husband and a father simply because you disagree with his position at a company, or you disagree with the company, or you disagree with the system of healthcare that we have in the U.S. is quite frankly sick, twisted, and disgusting. Why you'd celebrate anybody's murder, especially just an innocent man who you happen to disagree with, is really shocking to me. But it also just goes to show that the left, and many on the left, have a tendency to believe that violence like this, political violence, is necessary. It's a means to an end. And if they believe in the end and they believe in the means, it's really sick and wrong.
People are sick.
Absolutely.
Sick. So before I get you guys in on this, that was, of course, Piers Morgan's show, journalist Taylor Lorenz. She's a leftist journalist, where she made these controversial statements expressing a sense of justified anger towards the insurance executives. So she was basically saying that systemic issues within the healthcare industry, and described some reactions to the incident as reflective of broader frustrations. She said that she felt joyful, and I don't think we showed her actual words, but she actually said she felt joyful after watching this man get gunned down in the street. These people are evil.
They're absolutely disturbed. Absolutely disturbed. And again, if you look at the clip, it's not only this man's life who's in danger, but that poor soul who's just standing out in front of the hotel who could have been, hit by a bullet, a ricochet, or anything. When they seek to do violence against people that they don't deem worthy to live because they were inconvenienced, there's an issue. Yeah. And it's the same issue we've had with them from the beginning. These people are not right in the head. There's something wrong. There's a disconnect. They believed all of this woke media that says we can do no wrong. So here's one of their own who's doing a whole lot of wrong. Privileged, Ivy League educated, more money than he's got, good sense, may or may not have mental illness, is no excuse for gunning somebody down in the back.
And then justifying it.
In the broad daylight in New York City.
Yeah, I did watch the whole clip. I watched it twice again. And let me say this, she did go back and recant, right? She said she misspoke. However, I gave her a little bit of credit the first time, but when I watched it the second time, then she adds on and says, oh, it's celebratory. So I'm like, that kind of negated your recantation, right? However, because anybody can misspeak, but she
didn't misspeak. She didn't misspeak.
She was gleeful. She was happy.
Right.
The word joyful. When I looked at it again, her body language, her expressions and things like that, her emoting, she was very gleeful and happy and celebratory about this man. That's number one. Number two, again, we just talked a few minutes ago about how they characterize and misuse language. She accuses the CEO of murdering people. He has not murdered anyone.
Right.
If anything, whatever his name is, the piece of shit, allegedly murdered the CEO.
Right.
So they again confuse and conflate language. The CEO was walking down the street. Now, granted, again, like Piers said, our health system is not perfect by far, but it's not the worst either.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some excellent health care in America between our borders on the east and left coast, north and south. So to say that is, that these people that this man supposedly murdered and that she's gleeful about is utterly evil. It's evil because Taylor, what's her name? Taylor Lorenz. I think she's deranged. I mean, and Piers asked her, "What the F are you laughing for?"
Absolutely.
I mean, she was beyond. It wasn't even silly. It wasn't even goofy. She was deranged, in my opinion.
When you hear her refer to him as a greedy CEO.
Yes.
So here's some hard facts for this. United Healthcare is a mammoth company.
Yep,
this is a man who's at the top of the heap over thousands of other employees. People who write policy, people who hold you to the policy. And listen, I'm in healthcare. I'm a healthcare executive. I can tell you, I can't stand United Healthcare as an insurance. They're hard to deal with and all of that, but it keeps me gainfully employed dealing with them. Let's keep it 100.
Mm-hmm.
This is a woman, Taylor Lorenz, who probably too has not been told no a lot in her life. And she talks about him greedy. How much money does she make a year pontificating? Yeah. How much money does she make a year sitting around talking trash? Because that's exactly what she does. She talks a bunch of trash about a lot of things. Per tweet, how much does she make?
Yeah.
Can we call her greedy? This man worked his way to the top.
Right. He did not come from means. He did not come from money.
He worked his way up. That's the American dream, right? You work your way to the top. Where the dream crashes is you're going to a convention in New York and get shot in the back by some overprivileged child. Or I should stop calling him a child because he's a grown man. He's a grown man. I hope, my prayer is for this man's family. I hope that they find peace and healing. And I hope these people who are cheering for Luigi have a moment of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the America we want to live in.
I don't think they will.
I hope they do. I'm optimistic. I
don't think they will because they're thinking, their mindset, their worldview is so distorted. I mean, you can care for the poor. You can care for people who have been denied insurance for their terminal or chronic illnesses. You can care for that. But they are distorted to the point where they actually they're calling the CEO the murderer, and they're calling the murderer the vigilante.
Yeah, he's a hero. He's a hero.
That's twisted. That's beyond upside down.
It's backwards.
Yes.
It's the spirit of the Antichrist.
Yes,
and we have
it's
talked
evil.
about this on here many times. Folks, this is where we are right now. And I hate to get very religious with you, but this is the spirit of the Antichrist. When right is made wrong and wrong is made right. All they do on the left is do this. They try to make things that are supposed to be one way different. Truth is lie, lie is truth, and so on and so forth. It's evil. It's the spirit of the Antichrist, and we must call it out. And this woman, Taylor Lorenz, is a leftist journalist. She's in the media. This is what the media feeds people over and over again. And this is why we're turning it off. This is why independent media is so important. And thanks to people like you, patriots who love America and stand for truth, we're making a difference. Together, we turned them off, called out their lies and propaganda, and held them accountable for their disdain for God-fearing, America-loving people, freedom-loving people. But we can't stop here. It's time to take action with our dollars. Let's make 2025 the year we double down our commitment to values-driven choices. Vote with your dollars, buy Made in America, back companies that honor our families, faith, and country. And we found an exciting way to make this switch, and we want you to join us. Check out www.popandswitch.com and click yes, I want to make the switch. It's that easy. It's time to walk away from corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard that undermine our principles. Let's invest in America. You don't have to do a whole lot or everything at once, but you can start here. Join us in making this one small yet powerful step. Visit www.popandswitch.com. Click the link and schedule a call with our team to learn how you can make the switch. Together, we can create real change. So, speaking of this media in the way that they are so unbalanced and the way that they push leftist propaganda, some people are actually waking up. I want you guys to take a look here at this next clip. I think I have it. It's Young Turk's Anna Kasparian. So she's actually a journalist on the left as well. She is a journalist on the Young Turks. And she was being interviewed by Glenn Beck recently, and she had a wake-up call due to the propagandist media. Clip 5, take a look.
I can definitely be honest about my own flaws and my own mistakes, because I bought the mainstream media narrative that there wasn't a migrant crisis.
Really?
And yeah, I did believe it. I believe, because look, I was an idiot, because I mean, who do you trust in today's media landscape?
I know.
Right? There's a lot of liars out there.
Yeah,
and when it comes to mainstream media, the fact of the matter is they do play defense more and more for the Democratic Party. And that's an issue, because there was a time when that didn't happen. And so I still believed in their good faith reporting, even though it turns out, a lot of these reports would omit really important details about what's really going on. And so it wasn't until Texas Governor Greg Abbott started busing or sending migrants to blue cities where that woke me up. That woke a lot of people up. And suddenly America realizes, oh, there is a migrant crisis.
Why did that wake you up?
Well, because all of a sudden you're seeing migrants sleeping on the floor in the police department in Chicago because they don't have shelter for these people, right? You're seeing, these. I love watching streams of city council meetings, because that's how you understand what's really going on in these cities, right? These are real people who live there and they get their opportunity to speak.
Chicago's been an amazing thing to watch.
Wow. So, I mean, for all the talk that we have been doing about the leftist media, about mainstream media really just being shills for the Democrat Party, it seems like they've gone too far and people are actually waking up to the lies. Before we move on, I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Guys, get those likes up. If you agree, if you're tired of the lies of the mainstream media, please hit that like button. It does help to increase our reach, and this is what we want to do. This is what we're here for. Sure. So Laura with the $2 super chat says, absolutely. Thank you so much, Laura. Kung Fu CJ says, I heard she was fired. Good.
She was fired from another her previous.
Yeah. Well, I hope she does. I hope she doesn't get on another mainstream podcast.
I think she's independent now.
Yeah. Well, turn her off, just like I just said earlier. Turn her off. But that was Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks, very left-wing media source, but she's actually waking up. Shelley, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I've always had this, 50-50 like-hate relationship, if you will. I shouldn't say hate. With Anna Kasparian, but she seemed to be at least trying to always be fair, right? We may not come to the same conclusions, we may not come to the same methods, but she seemed to at least present herself that way. Having said that, I'm glad to hear that she's doing some introspection and she's rethinking some things, but she's open. She was honest. She said she saw that Trump was going to win. She knew it. Because why? Because like Trump, she talked with real people in real time, in real life, wherever they were, she met them there. And she had conversations about what was going on. It wasn't just something she heard or she's, getting secondhand information. She actually went out and talked with people. So I appreciate that. I applaud her for that. I even applaud her for coming out on Glenn Beck show. I don't know if you want to call it bravery, courage, or whatever, but she took the chance and she's basically coming out and saying, you know what? This is where I am now. She may not stay there. Maybe we'll still come to different conclusions. But at least right now, she is at least doing a dance with herself, if you will, and trying to figure out maybe where she actually fits in.
Yeah. What are your thoughts there, Nicole? Do you think that this is something we're going to see continue to change on the left?
I think we're going to see the more centrist people take a step to the right, not a big step, but a small enough step where they seem a little bit functional. I also know that Rob Schneider, a very good friend of President Trump, super ultra double doggone MAGA, is starting a new television network.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So you're going to see a lot of these people who were anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, big blue all the way, suddenly take a step to the middle because there's going to be significant paychecks that come to people who host those shows.
Oh, yeah. And I'm excited about it. Hopefully this network will move people more and more away from people like Joy Reid. Recently,
agreed.
Yeah, she did an interview recently with Elizabeth Warren, and both of them again are seemingly justifying the violence against the CEO of this United Healthcare. This is clip 9. Take a look at this.
We've been talking a lot about this Luigi Mangione, the case about the United Healthcare CEO. People are very angry at United Healthcare, I think for good reason, denying care and the whole system. And we were just talking in the previous block, killing a CEO is not the way you change. You have to regulate them, right? And so we've got attempts to try to rein in some of these big businesses. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which was your creation. The Trump administration wants to get rid of it. That is like protecting people from credit card fraud. Yeah. What happens if that goes away?
So look, terrible for individuals, but stop and think overall about the social contract. Part of the deal in how we've kept this democracy, this economy, this country on a fairly steady path for more than 200 years has been that those at the top pay a little more in taxes, are a little less rich than they otherwise might be. And everybody else at least gets a chance. Yeah. And what happens when you turn this into the billionaires run it all is they get the opportunity to squeeze every last penny. Yeah. And look, we'll say it over and over. Violence is never the answer. This guy gets a trial who's allegedly killed the CEO of United Health. But you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
Wow. And she's a senator of the United States. Again, we're seeing this type of, they're justifying this killing, this murder. Shelley.
They're evil. I'm just going to keep saying that. They're twisted. They're evil. They are confused, deranged, whatever other adjective you want to use to describe them. They had at the bottom there, the ultra rich are cementing their takeover. Elizabeth Warren is talking about the consumer whatever it was called, the CFB or whatever that was called. But the thing is that in no way, this social contract she mentioned, part of the social contract also says and implies that you don't murder people, particularly when you disagree with their outcomes or where they work or whatever they do for a living. That's a big part of a social contract, is maintaining people's lives and livelihoods. These people want to control every degree, but they don't want to control and put away those who are doing the most harm and damage to innocent people. I mean, you can't get, I don't know how else to say it. They are twisted and evil. These are the kind of people where I actually believe that there is literally no room for negotiation. Yes. I try not to be an all or nothing in most things, but in people like this, when your mind is so far gone and your heart is so hardened, I'm not God. So I didn't die for you, but I'm not God. So therefore, I think in my never to be humble opinion, these are the kind of people where there is no room for negotiation.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't think there's any room for negotiation with them. You heard Elizabeth Warren say that what she wants is more regulation. Right. The last thing we need is more regulation. It's the regulations that prevent you from getting the care that you need. Exactly. Healthcare is incredibly regulated. It's regulated down to the color of the pen that we use. There's a regulation about regulations, and there's a whole department at CMS whose job it is to come up with more regulation. Regulation is not the solution. If Americans want to take a step away from Obamacare, the ACA, whatever you call it in your household, and maybe step back 15, 20 years when healthcare was one, affordable, and two, something that worked for most people. Right. We threw that whole system away that worked for 80% of the people to help 20% of the people. Right.
And
so,
20% can't even pay for it themselves.
And the 20%, we're still supplementing. We're still supplementing. Healthcare for an individual can be anywhere from $700 to $900 a month.
Yep.
But then you have people who are in their young 20s who should be working, who should be contributing, who are paying little or next to nothing because we subsidize their healthcare. So there are a lot of things that are on the table, but regulations, sure enough, ain't one of them.
It is not.
We should not go there. Elizabeth Warren has been known to be, at least in my almost humble opinion, she is an enemy of most right-thinking people. She, makes it her point to be the most liberal, the most out there person. It's a part of her quote unquote Native American heritage.
The Pocahontas.
Yeah, the Pocahontas, right? Because you see, I'm Chinese, and her book, just call me young child. So, but this woman is beyond help, and the fact that she keeps getting elected, it just kind of boggles my mind. Let's hope and pray that now that we control the Senate, a lot of this foolishness is going to come to an end.
Yes.
We need it to end.
Yeah, I want to shout out our super chatter here. 16 Bar King with the $5 super chat.
Thank you.
3 of the angriest people on TV are named Sunny, Whoopi, and Joy.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Kung Fu CJ with a $10 super chat says, Shelly is right. They are evil. Get them, girl. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Bar with the $5 super chat says, God must be returned to the forefront of American life. Notice the left rarely mentions God. Absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just about to say that. How can we expect these people to have any type of moral compass, and they have removed God from the social, cultural, political discourse that we have in this country? They don't know what right is wrong, what is right, and what is wrong. And that's what we're working with here.
One of the things, KJ, that's always notable with these type of people is that they don't believe there's anything higher than they are. They don't believe in any kind of higher power. It was telling when Charlie Kirk did his things on college campuses, and when the very woke came to, and he was like, well, God bless you. They took that as a personal affront. Like he slapped somebody around or called somebody, a really filthy name.
I actually had somebody get upset with me for saying
God bless you.
Yeah. Yeah. He said that it was as if I was assuming
his religion.
That his religion, right. For saying God bless you.
Yeah.
Well, how about that's your religion?
Yeah.
And you're just being
Well,
kind.
next time just
right?
say, okay, well, Satan bless you. I mean,
or just be like,
it's stupid.
Listen,
yeah.
I say bless your heart at least.
It's a historical reference. It's actually historical. This is something that's been in our history for many, many generations. And it's a good, it's a nice gesture.
Absolutely.
These people hate anything that is happy, kind.
Exactly.
They anything of tradition. They hate it.
They
hate America.
They're miserable.
Yeah.
They're miserable. They're mean. They're menacing, and they are deranged.
Right.
And the first ones to talk about being joyful.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
They are, I'm joyful.
Yeah.
Kill them all. What the hell?
Yeah.
That is not how that word is supposed to work. That's not how joy works.
No,
it really isn't.
This is like a sort of alarm that they say.
Yeah.
Because we saw the girl Taylor Lorenz, the journalist on Piers Morgan, talk about joy. Then that was the whole mantra of Kamala Harris's campaign. It was anything but joyful. So this is what they do. And what you mentioned, Nicole, was right on. I want you guys hit that like button if you are against regulation.
Absolutely.
If you want more power over your money and less of the government put their hands in our pockets. Hit that like button because we really appreciate the support. It means the world to us. And we need to form our own community of like-minded individuals, not talking about race, gender, city versus rural area. We're talking about people who are of like minds, who value freedom, who understand that we're not the power, here. There's a higher power here guiding us. So hit that like button if you're part of that community, because we certainly appreciate
Absolutely.
All right. So I think I have another super chatter here. Did I see somebody pop up? Yes.
Yeah, Laura. Hey.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you. All right. So I want to move right along. We touched on that video or that clip with the Young Turks, where Anna Kasparian was basically saying she had kind of been red-pilled. She had kind of gotten an awakening based off of the immigration issue. And I think a lot of people have been red pilled due to that. So specifically she mentioned that it was due to the fact when Texas was busing up illegals to cities, she realized this is a major issue that the border towns are dealing with.
Right.
And Chicago residents are raising hell about
They've
this.
been raising hell for a long time about this, girlfriend.
So they
have
went
been raising hell
off
for a long time.
Yes, they went off on the mayor over illegal immigration at a recent city council meeting. This is clip 7. Take a look.
So Brandon, you and all these Democratic mayors out here and governors, y'all talking about crashing out for these illegals, right? You all stood up there and said you will not allow Trump to come in here and get these illegals. Yeah, you can smile. We're in $1 billion deficit. And you spent half of our money, half of that on illegals. Trump, Tom Homan, make an example out this right here first. Please come here first, because you know what? We're going to help you. We want a forensic
Ma'am, I would ask that you keep your, hold on a second, stop her time.
Our mayor is embarrassing us, y'all, around the world. And you all took the power back from him to say the city of Chicago is out of the business of funding illegals. We are out of the business of prioritizing non-American citizens on top of the American citizens who go out in this cold weather every day to make money to pay their taxes.
You so strong about protecting those aliens, but you won't do nothing for the U.S. citizens.
Here you are with another gritty property tax hike, trying to push the have-nots to house your precious illegal immigrants. You told Trump you ain't gonna blink? Well, we ain't either. You ain't above the law, and where you gonna run to when Trump pours that Trump card out on you? I will make it my duty to try to get MAGA to perform an Operation Grey Lord 2.0 in Chicago and lock all of you crooked Democrats and judges up. And it's just like that.
Wow.
Sipping my tea.
I had tears in my eyes earlier when I was watching those clips. I did. Who would have thought that you would see people, Chi-Town in the house. I mean, these people are literally taking back their rightful place in that city council meeting in Chicago City, in the streets of Chicago, against the mayor. These people are what we call Americans. We the people. Who would have thought that you could see people flipping Chicago red? I mean, that woman, now they beeped her out, but she did say this Negro. She didn't say MFer. She said this Negro right in his face. We talk about this all the time. Our taxes are used to fund so much other stuff. When if we had our own money, we would have better health care, if you will, because we would be able to send our children to whatever school without the quote unquote government assistance. There would be so much more that we would have control over our lives. We don't need the Elizabeth Warrens telling us to regulate this and regulate that. We don't need any politicians making any more laws. And hell, we need to get rid of many of them. Thank you, Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, and what we call, what is it? Doge. Yes. So these, I mean, that was a beautiful, I need to put that somewhere, mark that, earmark it, bookmark it, whatever. But that was, it was almost a spiritual thrill to see that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts there, Nicole?
It's a continuing awakening. We were there this summer. We heard a lot of the same things. You know, you can only mistreat people for so long.
Well, it's been a long time.
In Chicago, you know, when we talk about the blue wall and Democrats assume that the city is going to go blue, but what you're hearing from people is, okay, we've had enough, right? And what do we have to lose?
Exactly.
What do we have to lose? You have everything to gain. What do we have to lose? In addition to that, while they were saying that, you remember the DNC had their convention there, right? So they cleaned all the bums off the street and got everything nice and shiny for the Democrats. And as soon as they left, bums back, trash back, right back to what they were before. When we talk about cities being under siege, Chicago has its fair share, but imagine Texas.
Yes.
Imagine Southern California. You know, here in Maryland. I mean, and Maryland's not a border, quote unquote, a border state by any stretch of the imagination, but we have a ton of illegal immigrants living in the state of Maryland.
Yep. Well, I mean, I gotta say, I hate to be
Debbie Downer,
right? But I hope it's a change. You know, they elected this guy. I mean, during the last election, he was the more progressive than the other guy that was running, and they elected him. So I hope that this is definitely a sea change. Because you know, and I hope they, you know, going to the city council meetings is great, but I hope that they, you know, in the next election vote differently, because that is what actually matters. And so
can I say this? As someone who seeks out candidates, dusts them off, and stands them up, these are the people that you want to run next time. You know, these are the people that you want to put their name on a ballot for the city council, to level out some of that wokeness, because they're not going to let things sneak by them. And in addition, they're going to bring more like-minded people into the fold. This is how you grow the movement. Is it going to be a little bit more difficult in Chicago? Make no mistake, because Big Blue is big in Chicago. But can we take them down? Absolutely. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
And I applaud these people. They've been consistent for at least the last year.
Yeah, they've been on them.
They've been consistent. So again, I hope they are revved up in the right direction. Like you said, I hope it's real. I hope it sustains. It sustains itself, and I hope they get Brandon. What's his name? Brandon Scott. No, we got Scott. Oh shoot,
yeah, he's a Johnson.
One and the same.
Yeah,
but get the other Brandon out.
Get the Brandons out of office. But I'm looking forward to the good people of Chicago hearing alternatives from what they normally hear, so that they're not what we call low information voters.
Right.
Maybe, just maybe, something, a seed is going to be planted, and they're going to do better next time.
I hope so too. What do you guys think in the chat? Sound off in the chat. Do you think this is going to bring about real change? Do you think that they're going to vote someone in who is not so progressive next time? I want you guys to sound off. I want to also acknowledge our super chatters here. So let's see who we have. All right, let's see here. We have Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says, it is sad that it took so long for blacks to wake up. Yeah, it is. Hopefully they're awakened.
Hopefully,
they're still waking up.
Bar with the $5 super chat says, this is real important. God-fearing people are the majority. God haters are the minority. Stand up for God. America will change America overnight.
Agreed.
Yep, absolutely, Amen. Bar. Laura with the $2 super chat says, I saw this and loved this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's amazing. She actually is. PB Hardy with
Thank
the
you.
$10 super chat. Thank you. Says, preach, ladies. Thank you so much. ABJ's Wise and Strong with $2 says, salute to my DMV sisters.
Hey.
Repping common sense. All right. Absolutely. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you guys with your super chats. It certainly helps us to create conservative content. Also, hit the like button. If you agree with what we're saying on here, if you're a MAGA supporter like we are, if you're a common sense voter, hit the like button. What do we have here? Steel Toes.
Thank you.
$2 super chat. Thank you so much. So they spoke so much in Chicago, they brought out Tom Homan. Tom Homan,
my God, let's go,
came
Tom.
out, the incoming border czar under President-elect Donald Trump, recently visited Chicago to discuss his approach to immigration enforcement. This is clip 6. Take a look.
And we're going to start right here in Chicago, Illinois. If your Chicago mayor doesn't want to help, you can step aside. But if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors and conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute him.
Yes. Oh, okay. I hope you guys heard it. We didn't hear it on our end. Let us know if you guys didn't hear it. We'll play it again. So that was Tom Homan. He was speaking at a GOP event where he emphasized plans to make Chicago a focal point for intensified immigration enforcement, including deportations. He criticized local leaders such as Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor J.B. Pritzker for their sanctuary policies, urging them to cooperate or step aside.
Amen.
Homan outlined a no-tolerance stance on local resistance to federal immigration laws. Shelly, I mean, sounds like he means business.
I think he does, and I hope he does. I want these mayors from LA, Detroit, Baltimore, do the two-step. They should be doing the two-step, stepping aside, and if they need to step further, then we can put them in chains for a little while, clear up these cities from these illegal aliens. People in Chicago, you don't hear people like Chicago, not lately, except talking about illegals, using the words illegals and aliens and getting these illegal immigrants out of here, talking about their money being spent to house illegals while their other needs and taxes had to go up to front this. Get these people out. I cannot wait for January the 20th at noon 01 or noon 30, 12:30 in the afternoon. I can't wait because I'm hoping that within the next, after the galas or whatever, on January 21st, I'm hoping that Tom Homan sweeps through the country and all of these so-called sanctuary cities and states. Get them out.
Well, the word has already been going out. I mean, Nicole, you were talking about it earlier, how just knowing that President Trump is coming has people shaking in their boots.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're seeing in certain communities, especially here in Maryland, are where there used to be kind of people milling about, hanging out in front of
illegals.
Definitely illegals, hanging out in front of Lowe's, Home Depot, places like that, selling fruit on the side of the road and sandwiches and the like. I'm not seeing any of that anymore.
Wow.
And I used to see them every day on my drive into work. And as someone who does immigration physicals as a part of our medical practice, we have seen a significant uptick of people trying to get their papers together.
Okay.
And it's people who've been here 15, 20 years who are now suddenly trying to do the right thing.
15, 20 years later.
There's some people been here 30 years.
Yeah.
30 years. And they're complaining. They're complaining because, you cannot migrate to the United States if you have communicable disease, right? So if you have syphilis or gonorrhea, you haven't had all your childhood immunizations according to American standards, not to European standards. It's difficult to migrate. We've got to get you to a point where your health is okay in order to migrate here. They're complaining. What do you mean I need a polio shot? What do you mean? Listen.
You've been here all this time.
You've been here 30 years. 30 years. That means you've got grandkids here.
But they're worried about homeschooling moms and parents who don't want to get certain vaccines or certain jabs. But then you have all these illegals that are here with gonorrhea, syphilis, and who else knows. And this is probably why we have outbreaks in the population.
It could be contributed to that. But one thing is that even though they've been here a number of years, now that they're trying to get right, guess who's footing the bill? We still have to foot the bill because you have to treat them. You have to treat them.
There's no turning
If they come
away.
up positive for gonorrhea, syphilis, they have to be treated.
But that's not what Taylor Lorenz says. So Taylor Lorenz, the leftist journalist, is saying that these people aren't getting health care. So what are you talking about?
Oh no, I take
go to any emergency room. Go to any emergency room, a major hospital in a city near you. Go to any emergency room. You will see many people there. Now you might not know off the bat that they're illegal, but ask the people who work there. You can find out who the ones who are illegal, and they still have to be treated in the emergency room.
Right.
That's how mean and capitalist America really is.
Right.
But again, this goes to the high cost of healthcare.
Yes,
it adds to the high cost.
Absolutely.
Right. So this is why you have these bleeding heart liberals who go around and complain about our healthcare system while they still advocate for open borders. So in reality, they are also adding toward the high cost of healthcare.
Absolutely.
They're absolutely adding to the high cost of healthcare. And more significantly than that, when you talk about how overrun these places are, we sent one bus to Martha's Vineyard?
I think so.
And they called out the National Guard, right? Imagine Texas. Imagine, they said in Massachusetts, $1 billion spent in that little tiny state. $1 billion spent on illegal immigrants housing, food, healthcare, schooling for their children. It's expensive.
Right.
And I get the humanitarian thing, you know, if you're being persecuted in your own nation, you know, that kind of thing. America is not a mean country. We let in 1 million people a year, easy, right? But by that same token, those are people who come here the right way. They wait in line, they pay their fees. There's a privilege to being an American, right?
Absolutely.
There's a privilege to be here. So when people get angry and they say, oh, well, you guys are being racist, you guys are being bigoted. I'm not being racist or bigoted. I work hard for my money. Please hear me. I work really, really hard for my money. Most recently, harder than, you know, I used to. But Americans have the right to live well.
Right. Drop a like if you agree with Nicole, please.
Yeah. And
drop a like if
that's
you agree.
right.
And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Definitely.
That's right.
Subscribe.
And there's a little, I was gonna say, there's a little crawl at the bottom of your screen. That's our Cash App too. If you agree with us, go ahead and help to keep the capitalism going.
Listen, and speaking of capital and hard-earned money, go ahead and get you a new cup so you can.
Oh, that's right. We got our cup.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We all got lipstick on.
Everybody got a little lipstick.
Yeah, but these are our mugs, guys. They're so cute. Poppin' Politics. Does anybody have the Not Black?
I do.
So this is the Poppin' Politics one. I don't know if we can do a zoom in on that. This is the Poppin' Politics mug. Isn't it cute, guys? You guys got to get this. Send them to your family and friends for holiday. And then Shelly has the not black, not white, American.
That is so very cool. That is so very cool.
Yeah, and
it even looks good with the lipstick on it. Okay, wait a minute. Like
and Nicole has a Poppin' Politics one too. So yeah, so you guys can go to our website. Yep, and check out all of our merch. We work really hard. And then also, if you see anything, if you have an idea of something you want to see on our merch site, we can get it on there. Drop us an email, or you can go to our website and fill out our contact form and let us know, and we'll do our best to get it on the merch site.
And I want to say something, and again, this is not to gloat or brag on us, but the merchandise site, and when we're asking you, to support us, and we're thankful for no matter what you give to us.
Right.
We didn't go around begging, borrowing, stealing. We literally have been scraping, saving, sacrificing, and we've been doing that. So we are actually implementing the capitalist way, if you will, from the ground up to however far we get to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. I will say this. One of the things that I can say honestly about my friends here are they are very good stewards of resources. And I think
I'm very frugal.
I was being nice, Shelly, right? I'm not going to say somebody here squeezed a penny to the buffalo poop. Over here in this general vicinity, this side of the room. But we are all very careful with our money. In Maryland, this DMV is very expensive to live. Things are outrageously priced. So you do have to be very mindful, very watchful. So if you're thinking about getting a really nice gift for a friend or a family member, or perhaps your staff, can I tell you, this makes a great gift. You can put coffee in it, tea in it, or you could put a little Riesling.
Yeah,
a little something.
Hey, what do you think we have in our cups tonight? Put it in the chat. KJ, Nicole, and Shelly. What do you think we all have in our cups tonight?
Whatever it was, we all sucked it down because we all got lipstick on there.
Right, it's a little low. We can use a refill.
Refill. So I want to acknowledge our super chatters tonight. We have a couple more here, so let's see what we have. All right. So Rachel, with the $5 super chat says, hello, ladies. I'm a little late, but I promise to go back and watch from the beginning.
Thank you.
I see you, my Rose Nicole. All right, Bar with the $2 super
Thank you.
America, we must stay awake. Absolutely. Bar, you've been on fire tonight.
All night long. Let's go, Bar.
Yes, absolutely.
Raise that bar.
Yep. He or she has been raising the bar, and I agree with most of what you've brought, all of it actually, what you've been saying tonight. So absolutely. All right. We were talking about healthcare. Oh, one of y'all got Jim Beam in there.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
It's the Riesling.
All right. So speaking of healthcare, we were talking about healthcare and a lot of these immigrants, illegal immigrants that are also getting healthcare. I want to stay on that topic of healthcare and talk about what the UK just announced recently. So the UK has permanently banned puberty blockers for children, while we have parents like this advocating for trans surgeries for 1.5-year-olds here in the United States. This is clip 8. Take a look at this.
What motivated you to come out here today?
We're supporting our child, Violet, and her access to the medical care that she needs.
Yeah, we're here for her rights and her ability to be who she is. And she's not going to let anybody silence her, and we're not going to stand in her way.
What state are you from?
Arizona.
Okay. Are you concerned about how this case would affect Arizona, or do you think that would have an impact there?
Yes, 100% we're concerned, and we've discussed having to move, which we don't want to do, but Violet comes first, and her medical care and her medical needs come first, so we'll see what happens.
In what age do you think most trans kids determine that they're trans?
Violet told us when she was 1.5. She's been telling us since she could speak. So she knew since birth.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. These people are sick. And we have here the UK is indefinitely banning puberty blockers for individuals under 18 years old. So that clip was from last week. Of course, the Supreme Court is they're arguing in front of the court. Tennessee has banned trans surgeries, I believe, for anyone under puberty blockers and things like that under 18, and they have taken it to the Supreme Court to get it overruled. Shelly, what are your thoughts on that?
Let me say this. The only thing Violet knew from the time she was born was where the titty was. That's all she knew. That's all she knew. This is utterly ridiculous. This is nothing short of child abuse. Absolutely. Violet didn't know anything. This is Violet's parents, okay, in what I call a child-centered home, where the child really does run the home. These lunatics, okay, are abusing their child, and then they're using all of these laws or whatever, these trans policies to justify it. No, and nowhere in the history of time, since any child has been born, did they know at 1.5 that they wanted to be the opposite sex. This is bullshit. Bullshit.
Yeah. Agreed. At 1 year old, you don't know the difference from a titty to the clitoris.
Right.
So how can you change your sex?
This is child abuse. Yeah. Make no mistake. They took a perfectly healthy child and made this child into a patient for the rest of their lives. This is a child who's going to grow prayerfully into adulthood and have to go through significant surgeries. It's always going to be on hormones and Lupron and all of these drugs that we use to treat cancer. These are heavy drugs. This is not like popping a couple birth control pills and hoping for your boobs to come in. This is very serious and very grave, and there is no going back once you get beyond a certain point. So the case in front of the Supreme Court, they're talking about, before a child reaches puberty, are we really allowing children to make a decision? Shelley is absolutely right. You have these people who are quote unquote parents. I use that word loosely, but the child runs the home.
Exactly.
The child says what's going to happen. The parent said it. Well, whatever she needs, we're going to move. We're going to do this. What?
Yeah.
I noticed there's a cultural difference in between the way certain communities raise their children. Some parents are very much more permissive. We see those funny videos and reels all the time with this gentle parenting where the child is, bashing their mother over top of the head with a remote control. And she's going, hands hurt.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Instead of snatching them up, going, what is wrong with you? Sit down. You have these children who start off in these very liberal, very progressive, and I don't mean that politically, but I just mean in culture, in these homes. And as they grow, they don't have any parameters.
Nope.
They make horrible citizens. They make absolutely horrible citizens, because what happens when you have to tell them no?
Yeah.
What
Absolutely.
happens? It's on another reel or meme. Karen's going wild.
Right.
You see them out here telling the police all kind of crazy things. This is child abuse at the highest order, and it is the saddest thing because a healthy child born to what seems to be two reasonably healthy parents is now deficient for the rest of her days.
And you brought up a good point because it sets off a lifelong journey of just backwardness, really. It's backwards, disorganization, chaos,
deprivation.
Right, exactly.
Deprivation.
But this is what I continue to say. It is the spirit of the Antichrist. So we see that this whole idea of damaging the body, mutilating the body, going against God's design and purpose for our bodies, it's anti-God and it's spirit of the Antichrist. And then we see how, let's say you have a child who goes along and gets the puberty blockers and gets the surgery and changes gets their gender, their biological parts cut off or cut away and replaced with something else. Okay. So then that person grows up and let's say they meet someone that is, doesn't know, is thinking that they were born this way. Then they get with that person and that person becomes, disenfranchised or set apart because they have maybe had feelings for someone that they thought was a real woman who is actually not. I mean, it's backwards, it's chaos, it's just, it goes against the design God has for our lives, and we have to call it for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I have never seen or even, I guess, heard of whole societies where, number one, parents want to induce their children to the medical field or the medical institution to this degree.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, there are times when children are sick. I mean, really sick.
Absolutely.
Terminal illnesses, chronic illnesses, and you need it. But even in those instances, most parents, you cringe at having to hear or know that your child has to go under the knife again, right? Even for the best outcomes, you just don't, it's like, oh my gosh, my child's going to suffer. Here you have people who are literally putting their child to suffer because the child knows what from the age of 1.5. This is beyond Munchausen by proxy, which used to be child abuse. It's not anymore.
No,
it's not anymore.
18 months.
Yeah, 18 months. I mean, an 18-month-old will tell you that they want candy all day long. Right. I guess we're supposed to just give it to them, right? They know.
Sailor Moon
The truth is, I don't care how much cutting, rearranging, sewing back on of the phalluses and the breasts and the vaginoplasties. I don't care how much you do it. Your DNA at the nucleus of your cells,
cellular level,
you're going to be either XX or XY. And unless you can come up with a way to maybe bleach that all out and start it again with something else, you will never transition to another sex or another gender. You will not. You're only fooling yourself and you're hurting yourself. And unfortunately, now we have parents co-signing it.
And the UK has caught on to the horrible repercussions and results of this, and they've put a stop to it. This decision follows recommendations from the Commission on Human Medicines and findings from the CAS review, which highlighted risk and questioned the quality of supporting research for these treatments. The Department of Health and Social Care stated that current prescribing pathways pose unacceptable risk, safety risks. While existing prescriptions remain unaffected, the government has initiated plans for clinical trials to assess the efficacy and safety of these medications comprehensively. The ban reflects a growing caution in the UK about medical interventions for gender dysphoria in minors, emphasizing evidence-based approaches and holistic care alternatives. So we see this is wrong, and you have people like this that are continuing to do it, and it's all a money grift. It's a money grift too. They are cash cows for the medical industry for life.
Do you know the crazy thing is maybe 15 years ago, gender dysphoria was treated with psychotherapy.
Exactly.
We sat down, you had an hour or two of therapy a week individually, and then you sat down with the family. So everybody was kind of on the same page. Puberty is harder for some children than it is for others. But the truth of the matter is you get through it.
I was going to say, Nicole.
And when you talk about people, girls especially, when they go in and have that radical mastectomy, because that's what that is. It's the removing of all of the breast tissue. And you're left with a horrible scar that goes across your chest. There's no sensation. There's no pleasure centers left in your breast. They're gone at 8, 10, 12, 15. So what happens when you get 22 and you meet the man or woman or person of your dreams and you want to have a baby, but you had this hysterectomy, full and complete?
Yeah.
Your parents allowed that kind of foolishness.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Yeah.
What happens?
You become carpet munchers.
Carpet what? You said that 15 years ago, so gender dysphoria was treated, clinically, right?
Right.
Well, way before that, it was ignored. It wasn't even an issue. I mean, I'm sure that there were young people who thought they were the opposite sex. Okay, but guess what adults used to do? Boy, go play. Girl, get out, go run in the street, whatever, go play. I mean, it was a non-issue. Right. It was your girl, your boy. You can go play dress up in mommy and daddy's clothes, but that's fine. Put the shoes on, walk around a little bit. But other than that, then nobody got time for that. Yeah. First of all, there was the money part. People couldn't afford all of these surgeries.
Now they're trying to get medical health insurance.
Maryland Medicaid covers it.
Yeah.
And the schools here in Maryland will call your child by a different name, a different gender, a different sex without your consent or permission.
And if it's free, then it's no good.
And not only that, if it's Medicaid or free, who's paying for it? Ultimately, we're still paying for it.
Yes.
Yeah. We will continue to follow this story. Final topic of the night is the Jay-Z scandal. So recent allegations against Jay-Z have surfaced as part of a refiled lawsuit accusing him and Sean Diddy Combs of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl in 2000 at an MTV Video Music Awards after party. The accuser, referred to as Jane Doe, claims she was drugged and assaulted at a house party after being transported by a limousine driver who allegedly worked with Diddy. The lawsuit also includes claims against Diddy, who faces multiple legal challenges and criminal charges for unrelated allegations. Now, Jay-Z has vehemently denied the allegations, describing them as heinous and urging the accuser to file criminal charges if the claims are true, rather than pursuing a civil lawsuit. He also accused the plaintiff's lawyer of attempting extortion through a demand letter and expressed his intent to defend himself publicly. So, Shelley, I mean, do you believe these allegations?
I'm going to try to put it as diplomatically as I can. I do know that 13-year-olds can be and have been sexually assaulted. That's number one. This lady, this Jane Doe, if I'm doing the math correctly, she was 13 in 2000, which makes her about 37, 38, give or take, right now. The statute of limitations, because she was 13, they really don't apply, because she can file as a minor below 16, then she still has, standing. I guess that's what they would call it.
Right.
However, I do have a problem with all of this time going by, and then all of these accusations are coming out. Is it possible? It's possible, considering what we know, what we believe to have gone on with the Diddy parties and things like that. So it's very possible. In no way, shape, or form am I accusing Jay-Z or even Diddy of doing anything. I'm just setting up the bigger framework. 13-year-olds have been, unfortunately, sexually assaulted by predators. And we know a lot of this stuff goes on in the rap culture. Particularly, I call it the hard rap. It's different rap than when I grew up. But things like that do go on in the Hollywood industry. But my question would be, at 13 years old, where were her parents? Why was she at this party?
Thank you. That's
with these adults doing all of these adult things. Where were her parents or whoever, the guardian? Where were they?
What are your thoughts?
I have so many. Well, I'm not sure if he did it or not, but here are three things that stand out to me. One, Jay-Z is quite the wordsmith. So you can anticipate him swinging for the fences in his denial. And he's saying, bring the criminal case. But I'm going to tell you, locking him up for 6 months ain't nothing compared to tapping him in his pocket. Money is how you hurt millionaires, billionaires. But, I feel for him in that fame brings all of these kind of people out of the woodwork. This is not the first time Jay-Z has been wrapped up in some sort of scandal and innuendo. You got that big thing with Aaliyah, him and Dame Dash, quote unquote, maybe perhaps allegedly stabbing Rivera back in the early part of his career. Has come out recently and said, oh no, it wasn't Jay. But we don't know that. Right. So we know that this particular entertainment culture, age ain't nothing but a number, to quote Aaliyah, right? The problem that we have is, why would you let your 13-year-old go to an MTV after party? Why? One, she can't drink.
Right. What is she doing? Right. What are they doing?
So I get there are some girls that, back in the day, we used to call them fast or whatever. Maybe she's an emancipated person. Maybe her parents are industry people. And bad things happen. And I hate to keep harping on Aaliyah, may her soul rest in peace. But this is how she got hooked up into this foolishness with R. Kelly, right? A young girl, fresh on the scene, in a room full of predators. And she's not the only one.
Yeah.
So it's hard to discern whether or not it's true. The damage to his reputation has already happened. It doesn't matter how much he denies it. He's going to have to talk to his wife, his family, his children, so that they understand kind of what's going to happen if anything happens. This is why you see people just paying him off, because it's easier to keep him quiet.
It's cheaper too.
Pete Hegseth did that with the woman who accused him of rape. He says, no, it was consensual. It was easy breezy, lemon squeezy, but it's cheaper to get her off of his case.
Absolutely.
They say that this girl at 13 signed, or Sean or Diddy wanted her to sign a non-disclosure agreement. 13-year-olds don't have standing to sign said agreement.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very very mysterious, very curious as to what's going on. A couple things I have. So one, we know that Jay-Z and P. Diddy have been friends for a long time, a very long time, close friends and business associates. So my first comment on this is, if he didn't do it, then why was he hanging around Diddy for all these years, many years, doing business with him? He hung out at his parties, all sorts of things. He did not, he knew something. If he didn't do it, he knew something. So if he didn't do anything, why would he continue to hang around somebody that's doing all this, abusing women, allegedly hanging out with underage children, having sex with underage women and men? So why would he continue to hang around somebody like that? If I knew somebody who was doing that type of stuff, and he knew, these rumors have been going around for many, many, many years, since the 90s. Why would you continue to hang around him? Why wouldn't you separate yourself from this person? And we're not just talking about Diddy. We know that R. Kelly was doing it, and he has been convicted of it. And those three were very good friends. So that's first. Secondly, we know Jay-Z, there were rumors circulating for many years how Jay-Z was dating Foxy Brown when she was 16, allegedly. There was rumors circulating allegedly that he dated Aaliyah. I think it was before R. Kelly dated her. Aaliyah at the time was 15 years old. When she died, she was 22, and she was dating his very good friend, Damon Dash. So to me, everything is a little too close to say, I didn't do anything. I wasn't a part of anything. It's too close from comfort for me. And to me, what's the saying? When you lay down with fish,
lay down with the dogs, you get up with fleas.
He's got fleas in those friends. He's got fleas. So, he can deny all he wants to, but something in the buttermilk ain't clean.
Well, I agree with you. And one of the things I think you're definitely right about, KJ, is nobody who ever attended a Diddy party walked away saying, well, boy, that was a great party, nice and wholesome. You know what I mean? I got me a goodie bag to take home with me. No, they knew it was absolute debauchery. star after star after star said, oh no, you never stay at Diddy's parties after 11, 12, because,
Right.
you know, it goes down, you know, when it gets too late. If you knew that, why continue? You know why? The price of fame.
I was gonna
That's
say
what they
we
chalk it
talked
up to,
we
the
talked
price
about
of fame.
the other day about like parents living through their children. Again, I mean, I'm not. I don't know if this young lady or girl, or I'm not saying that they did or didn't, but parents, they are so hell bent on having their children be famous and whatever, you know, in touch, or 7 degrees of separation with these stars, 6, whatever it is. But they sacrifice. This is another way you sacrifice your children. This is another way you sacrifice your children.
Doesn't it make you think, though, when you think about all of these Disney stars who got to young adulthood and just like broke into thousands of little pieces?
Yeah, I mean,
it seems so, you know, I don't know what it is about going through that process, even with parents who protect you. You know, Aaliyah's uncle was a music executive. I mean, very popular music executive, and she still fell prey to a predator at 12 years old, if the R. Kelly documentary is to be believed, right? There's something about the way Hollywood allows itself to operate with impunity, raping children, pillaging women and men. You know, there's that.
Yeah, I mean, they were busting the men behinds wide open.
You know, there's something to be
It's something. I would say this. It's something about Hollywood, absolutely. But I also have to say, it's something about the people or the individuals. There's a desire to whatever, more or less, for all of us. What's the cheer song? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
And I think that desire is in all of us, again, to different degrees, and then to different things that maybe we might be willing to do to get somebody to know our name. So I mean, I think it's both, but I always draw the line at minors and children. They don't have the wherewithal or the right to make those decisions. Even if this 13-year-old was at that party, and again, I'm asking where are her parents, even if she was there, and if she was assaulted by Jay-Z or Diddy or whomever, I still will blame the adults. Because they knew she was young. No, I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm blaming all the adults. Again, I don't think she shouldn't have been there. She should not have been there.
They say that there was a woman in the room, another female celebrity,
a groomer
in the room who saw the whole thing. But using the unfortunate, quote unquote, logic of the left, if an 18-month-old can change his or her gender, 13, you are old woman. You are old maid. You better find you a celebrity and lay down somewhere, right?
It's sick.
This whole defective thought process cannot be normalized in the American public.
But this is what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, when we talk about the idea of sexuality and the fact that they are trying to push sexuality on our children in schools as young as kindergarten, when they are actually saying that 1.5-year-olds can change their gender, they are trying to move us toward a society where children can make decisions about sex.
Yeah.
So this is where it's going. And then on the same other side, they're taking away parental rights. So they're doing things within schools and they're saying parents should know. You know, even if your child in some states, I think Maryland is one, they can have an abortion and not tell the parents.
Absolutely.
So again, these are moves that they are making to make children make adult decisions and keep the parents out. And this is a major issue that we need to stand up against. This is what we try to do here, folks. And this is why we ask you guys, definitely hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Join this community. We do have our memberships here where you can join. You get special perks for becoming a member. But all of this goes towards us standing up against this debauchery, this evil that we are seeing encroach on our society from many, many sides. Go ahead.
Can I add just one more point to that? You know, one of the things I think in our be aware and prepare theory or practice here at Pop and Politics is very simple. Do not participate in their delusion. Do not.
Yeah.
You identify as a snow cone, that's on you. I'm not going to call you snow cone. I'm going to call you Jack, Jill, whatever your mother named you. whatever name it is. I'm not going to say your pronouns. I'm not going to send you an email with my pronouns on the bottom. I'm not doing any of that, because when we acquiesce to that, it's giving them that much more of our culture to walk away with. People say, you hear liberals say this all the time, well, it's so easy. All you have to do is say this. Right. That's not the way that language works. And that's not the country I want to live in. So if you want to be a toaster strudel, right? Today you woke up, you felt damn fancy, you put some icing on, and you're out here on the streets, right? That's on you. But you're still KJ.
Right.
You're still KJ. You're still Shelly. Whatever your pronouns are, personal choice, but I'm not going to buy into it. We have got to stop allowing them to take more and more away from our culture. Stand firm.
Right.
Stand
And
firm
tell
in
the
that.
children to stand firm.
Absolutely.
We know we have some college students, some high schoolers that watch us. Stand firm. And I know sometimes it can be uncomfortable. It can be difficult because you feel like all around you, people are telling you the pronouns. People are telling you, oh, it's cool to,
be polite.
Yeah, right. That's
polite.
you have to, it's just being kind, No, you know right from wrong. You know the truth. Stand on it. And let me tell you, in the long run, that will take you much further.
Absolutely.
It will. And that's what you should do. That's all I can say on that. So I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Guys, thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you. All right, let's see here. We have Kung Fu CJ says that Kendall Jackson in them mugs. Thank you, Kung Fu CJ. Rico Ray says Nicole got that yak in that cup. Oh my God.
No yak, Rico. No yak. Just a little Riesling. Just
Bar with a $2 super chat says, when did America go insane? Mass child abuse.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Light Bearer 32.
Oh my God.
I was talking about the lady, the baby. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
LAPD SWAT with a $5 says, not sure if my Cash App got through. Your thoughts on the drones?
Oh, we want to talk about that. We got to talk about
that's
that.
Spyware. That's
so
absolute
he is
spyware.
referring to, you guys have been watching in the news, New Jersey, New York, and some other states have been reporting drones have been covering these states over the last several days. A Republican congressman came out and said that he has insider information that there's some type of mothership on the coast that has released these drones, and the ship is from Iran
on the coast,
right, and has released these drones, and something's going on with it. The Pentagon came out and basically refuted that, said they don't know what he's talking about, but they don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know where they're coming from. They don't know why they're there. They don't know anything.
We got to talk about that. We got to talk about it some more.
Yeah, shoot them out the sky.
Exactly.
Well, they're saying if you shoot it out, that the debris
they don't know what it is. Right.
Well, they say they're as big as a car. This is not a little toy.
A car or dining room tables. I heard. KJ said it was the mothership. It's not the Enterprise, y'all. It's not the Enterprise. It's not Captain Spock and Captain Kirk. It's not none of them. So
the mothership. Yeah, I mean, this is scary stuff. We already know China had the balloon going across the country, and they let it fly all over the place.
Exactly.
Now these drones, and they said they have they're placed right near military installments and things like that.
And China has a lot of corporations near military installments.
The CCP is definitely there. But this is my bigger question. Where is the FBI? This is a job for the FBI.
Oh, you know where they
are?
are?
Mission.
They were down in Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, yeah.
Busting in the door. Looking in Melania's drawers.
Yeah. They were rifling through drawers. But this is what the FBI is supposed to do, to protect the homeland. And we have all of these other three-letter agencies that should be on top of this. But as a citizen, I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to be very honest, as Nicole Bennett, private person, that you fly something that large over top of my home, clack, clack, it's coming down. I don't care where.
Well, I mean, the Bidens left the borders open, I guess, to the mothership. I guess they said, hell, come on in. America is a free-for-all.
This has been for weeks. This is not like a one-off. Exactly. People have been complaining, thousands of complaints to the FBI. And what are they doing?
They don't know.
What are they doing? What are they doing?
I bet you they could tell you right now, any one of us, if we missed a penny on our taxes last year. They can pull it out real quick. They would know that.
But they don't know. I mean, all of the electronics, all of the the capabilities. We're the United States of America, and you can't tell us what is flying in our airspace. What is this? Please,
or ship off our coast.
Get Biden out
quickly
and get some people in here with efficiency for our country. This is ridiculous.
January 20th.
Listen, he quite literally is asleep at the wheel. He's been asleep at the wheel for probably the last 2 years. And the people who are left to run the country are somewhere crying because they lost the election. You know, we are at this point, we have what I like to call a shadow government. The good news is that Donald Trump is our shadow president right now. He's bringing to bear all the things that need to come to make sure that America is safe and prosperous. And that's what we want in our commander in chief.
Well, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Kung Fu CJ with the $2 super chat says the other person in the room was Lopez.
Oh, with Diddy and
right. Yeah, Jennifer Lopez. All right, says Bar says, thank you, ladies, for your voices. You too, Tyrone.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. All right, folks. Well, that does it for us tonight. Wednesday night, we will be back on Saturday, I believe, Saturday evening. So definitely, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Final thoughts. I'll give you guys final thoughts. Nicole, anything?
This is a great time to become a member of the Freedom Seekers. Let me just give you guys a little insider information. As we get closer and closer to the inauguration, there are going to be parties, you know, there are going to be balls, there are going to be events that we're going to attend. And I'm going to just tell you now, in all honesty, full disclosure,
page.
I am bougie. I claim that. It is who I am. I was born that way, right? So I don't do like regular. I'm a VIP's VIP, right? So if you want to see all the photographs, if you want to feel like you're a part of the action, join now while the getting is good. So you can actually see what happens to Shelly when she has half a glass of Prosecco. Because I'm going to record that myself. Half a glass of Prosecco.
Y'all know I'm a lightweight, half a Prosecco. Nicole was correct. Last words. Again, I'm just going to keep saying it. I just cannot wait for January the 20th. I am so excited. I think there was a meme on social media with an eagle walking through the snow, and people were likening it to President Trump coming into office. I love, first of all, eagles and big cats are my favorite animals. So, and then bears. So,
but bears was coming.
Oh my! So. I'm just excited. I'm excited for our country. I'm excited for President Trump and his administration. We just gotta, again, stand up, strap up, speak up, show up. And that's where we're gonna be on January the 20th.
Yes,
all right.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night.